Pre-qual equals pre-approval.
Pre-qual does not equal pre-approval. That is false. One is a hope and a prayer. Another is actually confirmation.
Hey everybody, happy holidays. Sean Walker here.
And Justice Roberts.
Welcome to the Renowned Mortgage Podcast. Hope you had an absolutely amazing Christmas. I had a good one, Justice. How was yours? Yours good?
Our Christmas was fantastic. Lots
really?
of kids, lots of noise, but exactly
Nice.
as it could be.
Nice. Well, I have to tell you, I am kind of like, I'm a little green. You got your fancy new studio going into 2026. Big things, big plans. Looks good. So, hey, let's see if we can put all that fancy equipment to work. I'm just going to jump right in. I've been loving just the feedback we've been getting about what we're talking about on the podcast. So kind of a year in review kind of question for you today. So if you're ready. So what do you think people misunderstood the most about the housing, and the mortgage market in 2025? We were told a lot, hoped for a lot. What do you think the biggest misunderstanding was about this year?
I would say, generally speaking, as it relates to real estate or mortgage, and just understanding the impact that inflation really has had on the market as a whole. And I think if consumers understood where interest rates were going to stay at for the entirety of the year, even though they dropped at some moments, came back up, came down, the volatility there impacted things at different moments slightly. But I think that the misunderstanding is that inflation, basically the home prices would have ended up coming down. And I think that home prices, where in some markets and some areas, those did drop slightly, where in most areas we saw slight appreciation in a market where people would be like, hey, home prices are going to drop. They're going to fall from the sky. It's going to be 2008 all over again.
Right.
I'm just going to wait till the market's going to, fall. And I'm like, we still didn't see it. And inflation, I believe, is the main contributor to that conversation and keeping home prices elevated. So I'd say that was the biggest thing that I think that a lot of people don't understand, maybe be misunderstood, is the impact of inflation.
I think the attempt at the crystal ball armchair quarterbacking, so much information from so many different places, information creates influence. So a lot of the market is driven on, the market is obviously driven on potential and future growth, but it's also the perspective of that potential and future growth. And so a lot of that either has investors running in or running away. And I think with the day and age that we live in, with information being so available so quickly, it really just does create this scatter that just, the best way I would describe it was the baseline stayed about the middle because we were up, down, up, down, up, down. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to go. And so you saw housing prices pretty much just stabilize. It wasn't this massive growth, but it wasn't a massive fall off either, because I don't know if anyone deeply was convinced that the information that they were getting, that rates were going to do X, that they were going to either go up or go down. I think every single time we heard 25% basis point drop, immediately when that didn't happen, we heard all the pundits say, well, that was already baked in. And we just kept hearing that baked in comment over and over again, because as I've said multiple times, the crystal ball seems to be, it's unplugged. No one really has a functioning one. Maybe someone got one for Christmas, and let's hope. So, not asking us to forecast, I would never do that, but we have seen some things as far as economic data that has looked positive. Inflation, somewhat, the numbers showing some decrease. We'll talk to different agents and different LOs, and some are just incredibly busy still, even now, when others are maybe actually considering getting out of the business altogether. Where are you feeling like the strength is going to come from? Are we about ready to just continue the winter refi boom? Do you see purchases? And again, I'm not holding you to this, but what do you kind of see people starting to do? Maybe even in the way of, we've been talking recently about people wanting to create capital for investment. Like, what do you see coming?
What I see, with consumers as a whole, and they're so resilient. At the end of the day, at the same time as they're resilient, and they have short term memory, and I think that actually serves really, really well. And I think why, as we go further into time, is that there's a familiarity of where interest rates are at and the impact of what mortgage payments are. And I think over time we see people going, hey, I feel like I've waited long enough. Things are going to be the way that they are. I'm not going to put my entire life on hold just because interest rates aren't coming down with a 4 handle on it, or whatever that looks like. But it's like, hey, we're having kids, we're having jobs, we're making moves, we're having to make these financial changes. And what are your other alternatives? At the same time. So I think that we see that this year. I think that we continue to see more consumer resilience. We see them continue to keep showing up. Doesn't mean that the deals aren't difficult. Doesn't mean that the deals aren't hard. Doesn't mean that it's not requiring creativity. Doesn't mean that it's, there aren't, strategies that need to be implemented, and, hard choices that have to be made in order to put deals together. But I see that returning in 2026 and kind of a pickup.
Yeah. No, the hey, it's going to be a lay down contract. No problem. It's not going to be, without glitches. I actually saw an agent post yesterday, Santa, all I want for Christmas is a deal that doesn't fall apart in escrow. So, having, a solid loan strategy. So, hey, to your point, there are people that are making that conclusion that it's time to jump off the sidelines. And so I wanted to play a little bit of 20 question true false with you. I know we'll cue some music right here. 20 question true false, and ask you some questions, speed round really, really quick. So if you found any of these, or you actually had these questions, feel free, like and share all this information to others that might have it. So here we go. All right, Justin, here's your true false 2026 edition. True or false? 20% down is required for a mortgage.
That is false. Many people purchase with less than 20% down.
Okay. Lowest rate always equals the best loan.
Absolutely not. That is false. Loan structure, fees matter significantly, way more than just interest rate.
All right. True, false. Loan strategy matters more than rate.
I would say that's true.
Yeah. Okay. Pre-qual equals pre-approval.
Pre-qual does not equal pre-approval. That is false. One is a hope and a prayer. Another is actually confirmation.
Okay. And the mortgage you start with can change.
The mortgage you start with can change. I'm going to say false. And the reason why I'll say false is you can refinance, but when we set up a loan, that's going to be solid until you get out of it.
There you go. Okay. Big down payment is always smarter.
False. I would say in many cases, a smaller down payment makes a lot more financial sense based off of holistic financial strategy for most of our consumers.
Yes. Okay. True or false? Paying off debt can hurt an approval.
True. Can hurt.
True. Yeah. Yeah. The wrong payoff can absolutely backfire for sure. You don't need perfect credit. True or false?
True.
True. Okay.
True. You do not need perfect credit.
True. You do not need perfect credit. All right. Preparation matters more than timing.
Preparation is the keys to success. I would say so many successful closings are way more about being prepared rather than timing it correctly. Yeah.
Okay. And final one. I think this is the biggest one that people get. I hear this one all the time. Checking my credit hurts my credit score.
No, that's false. Your credit score was made to be pulled. That's why you have it.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, there you go. That is our true false. If you had any of those questions, go ahead and comment below. Or if you had one that we didn't ask, true or false, go ahead and give us your true or falses below. We'd be absolutely more than happy to answer those for you. And maybe we'll hit them up in our next episode of True False. Yay. I'm going to do confetti or something right there. But hey, there. Well, hey, we're glad that you joined us. We hope you have an absolutely amazing New Year's. We are so excited for what's coming this year, and any way that we can partner with you, help you in any way you can, or any way we can, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. So for the last time in 2025, I am Sean Walker.
And I am Justice Roberts.
And we will see you next week.